Welcome to Fable and Fact. We're diving into one of the most captivating topics out there, Islam, the truth behind the world's most misunderstood religion. Picture this, a sprawling square in the heart of a desert city, a mysterious black cube standing tall at its center, surrounded by a sea of white-robed Muslims moving in unison like ripples across an endless ocean. That cube? It's the Kaaba, known as God's house, smack dab in Mecca, the holiest spot in Islam. Every year, millions brave scorching heat, massive crowds, and even the occasional stampede to make the Hajj pilgrimage here. So, what's inside that enigmatic cube? Why does the Hajj draw such a crowd? And how did Islam get tangled up with terrorism in the world's eyes? Buckle up, because we're about to unpack all of this, step by step, with a fresh, no-nonsense look. Let's set the scene. Mecca sits in western Saudi Arabia, cradled by rugged mountains about 50 miles from the Red Sea. Back in the day, it was a bustling trade hub, a pit stop for caravans crisscrossing the desert. Today, it's the spiritual epicenter for over 1.8 billion Muslims worldwide. At its core is the Grand Mosque, or Masjid al-Haram, a jaw-dropping masterpiece that's the largest mosque on the planet. We're talking 356,000 square meters of pristine white marble, domes, and minarets that gleam under the sun, built at a staggering cost of nearly $100 billion over decades of expansion. At night, thousands of lights turn it into a glowing beacon of faith. Here's the twist. If you're not Muslim, you're not stepping foot in there. Mecca and its sister city, Medina, are off-limits to non-Muslims, period. Highways leading in have signs splitting traffic into Muslim and non-Muslim lanes, with checkpoints manned by religious police ready to turn back, or even arrest, anyone who doesn't belong. It's rooted in the Quran's call to keep these holy cities pure, free from violence or outside influence. So, for the rest of us, the Kaaba's secrets stay just out of reach, unless you've got a VPN and a knack for virtual exploration. Zoom into the Grand Mosque, and there it is, the Kaaba, a cube-shaped structure draped in black silk, shimmering with gold and silver threads. It's not huge, 41 feet long, 36 feet wide, 42 feet high, built from stone and perched on a marble base. But its presence? Massive. Muslims worldwide turn toward it 5 times a day for prayer, making it the literal and spiritual compass of Islam. Here's a wild tidbit. Measure the distance from the Kaaba to the North Pole, about 4,745 miles, and the South Pole, 7,672 miles, and the ratio's eerily close to the golden ratio, 1 to 1.618. Coincidence? You decide. The Kaaba's got history baked into its stones. Legend says it was built by Prophet Abraham and his son Ishmael thousands of years ago as a sanctuary for God. In one corner, embedded in a silver frame, is the Black Stone, a dark, meteorite-like rock Muslims trace back to Adam and Eve's time. During Hajj, pilgrims swarm to kiss or touch it, though with millions showing up, most settle for a respectful point from afar. The black cloth, called the kiswa, gets swapped out yearly in a big ceremony, costing millions to craft by hand. Peek inside if you're one of the rare VIPs invited by the Saudi king, and it's shockingly simple. No statues, no murals, just 3 wooden pillars holding up the roof, a few hanging lamps, and a small staircase. Twice a year, it's scrubbed down with water from the nearby Zamzam well, spiked with rose water and perfumes, leaving it fragrant for months. For Muslims, it's not about what's inside, it's what it represents, a direct line to God. So, why the Hajj? It's one of Islam's 5 pillars, mandatory for every able-bodied Muslim with the means to go at least once in their life. Each year, from the 8th to 12th of the Islamic month of Dhul al-Hijjah, up to 2.5 million pilgrims flood Mecca, down from a pre-COVID peak of 3.2 million in 2012 thanks to quotas. They circle the Kaaba 7 times, reciting prayers in a ritual called tawaf. Then, they hustle between the hills of Safa and Marwa 7 times, echoing a desperate search for water by Abraham's wife, Hagar, that ended with the Zamzam well's miraculous spring. Day 2, they head to Mount Arafat, 12 miles away, for a day of reflection and forgiveness. Hajj's emotional climax. After that, it's tossing pebbles at pillars in Mina to shun the devil, followed by animal sacrifices shared with the poor. This isn't just a checklist, it's a reenactment of Abraham's trials. a reset button for the soul. Finish it, and you're a Haji. Your sins wiped clean, like a newborn. But it's not all spiritual highs. Crowds can turn deadly. In 2015, a stampede killed over 2,000 people, one of the worst in decades. Still, the pull of faith keeps them coming, pumping over $12 billion annually into Saudi Arabia's economy, from travel to food to infrastructure. To get why this matters, let's rewind 1,400 years to Prophet Muhammad. Born in Mecca around 570 AD, he didn't have it easy. Orphaned by 6, raised by his grandfather and uncle in a rough-and-tumble trade town. He grew up sharp, honest, and unlettered, earning the nickname Al-Amin, the trustworthy, as a merchant crisscrossing Arabia. At 25, he married Khadija, a savvy widow 15 years older, flipping his fortunes overnight. They stuck to monogamy for 24 years, raising 7 kids until her death in 619 AD. Later, he'd marry 11 more times, including the controversial Aisha, betrothed at 6 and wed at 9, a custom still debated today. In 610 AD, everything changed. Meditating in a cave on Mount Hira, Muhammad saw the angel Gabriel, who dropped the Quran's first verses on him. "Read," Gabriel commanded, and though he couldn't, the words burned into him. He preached one God in a city hooked on idol-worshipping cash cows like the Kaaba, then a pagan hub with 360 statues. Mecca's elites weren't thrilled. His monotheism threatened their profits. By 622 AD, persecution hit a boiling point, and Muhammad bolted to Medina in the Hijra, year 0 of the Islamic calendar. In Medina, he built the first mosque and a fledgling Islamic state, welding tribes together through battles and diplomacy. 8 years later, he marched back to Mecca with 10,000 followers, taking it bloodlessly in 630 AD. He smashed the Kaaba's idols, rededicating it to Allah. 2 years later, he led the first Hajj, cementing its rituals before dying in 632 AD at 63. His death sparked a Sunni-Shia split over who'd lead next. Sunni, 80% today, wanted elections. Shia wanted bloodlines. That rift's still raw, but Islam exploded outward, forging an empire from Spain to India in a century. Now, the elephant in the room, terrorism. Post 9/11, Islam's taken a beating in the headlines, tied to extremists like ISIS. But let's zoom out. 1.9 billion Muslims call Earth home in 2023, per Pew Research. If they were all ticking time bombs, we'd be toast. The Quran's core? Mercy, justice, charity, not carnage. Verses like 5 to 32 say, killing one person's like killing humanity, saving one's like saving us all. Extremists cherry-pick lines, twist them, and run wild. But they're a speck. Less than 0.1% of Muslims by some estimates. Islam's also got a practical streak. Muhammad, the ex-merchant, baked commerce into its DNA. The Quran greenlights wealth if you share it. Think taxes like zakat for the poor. That balance of hustle and heart fueled its spread along trade routes, not just swords. Today, most Muslims? Regular folks, doctors, teachers, neighbors, not jihadists. The Hajj and Kaaba aren't just relics. They're living symbols of unity for a faith spanning continents. In 2023, Saudi Arabia capped Hajj at 2 million, still a logistical beast. 400 million meals, 25,000 water barrels, 40,000 carpets cleaned daily. It's a $12 billion machine, but for pilgrims, it's priceless. A shot at redemption, a tie to Abraham, Muhammad, and God. So, there you have it, Islam unveiled. The Kaaba's a minimalist marvel with a cosmic pull, the Hajj a grueling test of devotion, and the faith itself a complex tapestry warped by a noisy few. Next time you see that black cube on screen, you'll know the story behind the waves of white. Before we bounce, hit that like button if you learned something, subscribe for more deep dives, and ring that bell so you don't miss a thing. Thanks for hanging out. See you in the next one.